Life number 13. Today I want to talk about something funny, something crazy, but I want to show you a rule hiding behind this whole thing that will explain and help you understand something very deep. So today I want to talk about emotions, but positive emotions, or one emotion in particular, which is love. And I want you to ask yourself a question. You as a guy now listening to this live, how do you define love? It's crazy, right? It Most of us would have or will have a, a huge problem with defining this word. You see, many people will say that love is sex. And now, because of how everything over sexualized is, it's understandable, although it's completely missing the point. At least from my point of view, you can see that in many movies. People are making love. What does love having to do with having sex? It might go together, but it doesn't have to. So crazy. Some other people will say that love is this feeling of feeling these butterflies in your stomach, something that draws you to the other person. But then I'll ask, isn't that attraction, or you having crush? Isn't it something completely different? Because it fades out, and then you stay with the person that you're with, and then it doesn't mean that you don't love them. And then some other people will say that it's ability or decision to do something for other person to better their life unconditionally. But then I'll ask if that's a love itself or result of it. And so this way or the other, whatever you try to define it, it's really abstract thing, and it's a really crazy thing, which is really hard to define. But then, interestingly enough, especially if you're in the beginning of your relationship, or maybe you're together, then you'll hear that as a guy a lot of times. Do you love me? And then at the beginning, when you have these all butterflies in your stomach, you'll say, yes, baby, I love you so much. But then, interesting thing will happen when you be together for quite some time, and then it's going to start to come back again. She'll ask you, do you love me? And then you won't answer right away. You start to think, what does it even mean? And then many times you can get in trouble because you don't answer right away. So it means that you don't love her. But in your head as a guy, just try to figure out what does it even mean? How can I say to someone that I love him or not if I don't understand what does word even mean? But you see, that's the whole problem. Because as we said from the beginning, our ladies are seeing the world from through completely different lens. And they're able to feel much more than we do. So to be exact, if she's asking me, do I love her, is she asking about my definition or her definition? You see? Now it's getting complicated. Because you see, you can compare it to asking her about the color. You're just showing her something, and if you've got sister, or maybe if you're in relationship, ask your girl to define colors of few different things, and she'll use the names that you don't even understand. You don't even it's the first time you heard it in your life. Many times it'll be like cotton candy, or burnt orange, or some other crazy name. It's like, what? For me, it's orange, it's red, it's pink. We use, like, I don't know, 16 colors. They use, like, I don't know how many millions. You see? So if we're talking about color of my jacket, she'll think in completely different terms than I do. But it can go the other way around, exactly going back to the subject of love. If we're talking about love, I may be thinking about or define it completely differently that she does. So even though I'm just showing you the crazy example that probably will happen in your life, so brace yourself. But second, I want you to see that, going back to the subject of us being leaders, being these knights that kind of are the person in position that they want us to be in, to lead this whole thing forward. I want you to understand that it's going to be your responsibility to kind of get two of you on the same page, to have and explain to each other the definition of most important words that you're going to use. Because you will see that the farther you go forward, you will see that many times you will argue because you using the same word, but but the definition behind is completely different. That's why you kind of miss the point. And then it's very easy when emotions are up. It's very easy to kind of argue. But then if you stand back, you see that it's you're arguing about just because about miscommunication about the definition of words. And I've seen this situation. I visit my grandpa's my grandparents some time ago, and I remember sitting there and they were arguing. Let's say it wasn't really arguing, but they were talking and exchanging communication. And I said, guys, but grandpa, you are talking about this. Grandma, you're talking about this. You're talking about the same thing, but you phrase it differently. And in their situation, it was like they use different words to talk about the same thing. But it goes both ways. But the whole thing is like you have to understand this rule, that you are the person in the best position to help you go over so many potential dangerous situations, potential arguments, if you be wise enough to help you understand and define some words, and then talk about it when you're on the same page. So what I want you to take from today's video: be wise, be smart, and be the leader, the knight that she wants you to be. And then get your relationship on the same page, have the same definition of words, and you'll see how far you'll be able to go and how peaceful you can be if you were the gatekeeper of your dictionaries. Think about it, and see you tomorrow.